And we are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron the puppy. I am sticking with the puppy for this pay-per-view because they're still offering it, I think, for like $10 off, maybe $20 off if you wait a little longer. Headlined by the long-awaited title shot for Steve Erceg, coming off of a knockout of Matt Schnell. I believe it's Matt Schnell's 7th knockout. Congratulations. I count Sumanjari as a knockout, even though he won that fight against Pantoja. And with me, as always, just my 2 cents and Betya. But joining me, it's like 4 times a year we're able to get him, just get him out here. Maybe eventually we'll get back to the point where we're doing LFA shows, but those days are always going to be there. Lucky Locks with me as well. So we'll go ahead and go around, see how everybody's doing before we start out. I'll start with 2 cents. People saw your face yesterday. We thought they were going to see it today, but apparently, I don't pay you enough money to be here. So how are you doing, Avatar? 2 cents.
I'm doing very well. Yes, I'm not an AI-generated voice chat, but man, I'm very happy to be here as usual. This is definitely one of the highlights of my week, and I'm a little not disappointed, but a little sad, I guess, that you're not airing the full dog for this one. I actually like this card, but I get it too, man. It's an all Brazilian card. It's probably going to be really fucking greasy, but I'm very happy to be here and chop it up with you boys, and happy to be on stream again with old Lucky, man. So hopefully this is a good one. Y'all smash the like button for Aaron, and let's get this shit.
Yep, and hopefully the Knights can join the Rangers there in the second round, but not looking strong for our Vegas Knights. It's not last year. Speaking of strong, though, Betya with the full-on thinker pose going here for 301. Yep, Betya. It's Derby week. Yep, we got the pose going. How's the horse, man?
It's good. Lost the horse yesterday. It didn't die. I mean, it got scratched.
It was like a leg break, or
they know where it is. But we got a new horse in, which is good for me because my horse now slides out of the cursed 17 slot into the 16 post. And I still got to make that video.
Yep, looking forward to it. But excited about 301 tonight, or Saturday, I should say.
Sure. That's also a thing that's cool.
Yeah, and drink every time we mention it's in Brazil, because that will be brought up pretty routinely on this one.
I know you and George Gennaro both posted that the Brazilian parlay is plus 70,000 for this card. So
that's right.
So the John Lee Brazilian, the bonus John Lee parlay could be all Brazilians.
Yep, and then Glenn Bot in the chat. What up, Glenn Bot 5,000? Lucky Locks, welcome back to the show. Good to see you as always. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Always happy to be on. We've had a lot of good times on this show, so it's always nice we can find the time to get it going again. So a pretty good card. I've been on a big heater so far this year, so hopefully that's not going to stop this week. I'm looking forward to chopping it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love to hear it. One of my favorite people to talk about in the sport. Lucky Locks, if you're not familiar, then you have not been on the MMA capping scene long enough, because no one does the regional better than Lucky Locks, including myself. So, all right, we're going to get started here. Starting at 125. This is definitely a very interesting fight for myself and 2 cents, because we've been arguing about this one back and forth all week. This is kind of one of the fights that we both feel pretty comfortable on our side, so I'll look forward to hearing from 2 cents eventually here. But Alexandre Costa versus Kevin Borjas here. Really interesting, good flyweight fight here. Borjas, he's all action all the time. Very entertaining fighter. Against Joshua Van, definitely had Van in some spots, caught Van several times in the fight. Just, came up a little bit short. Definitely, I think if offensively his grappling was a little more in control, I think he could have finished that fight off at a few points with Van, where he just kind of didn't get his positioning, things like that. But good at striking, good at the movement, good at striking off his back foot particularly, which I think will be important in this fight, because Costa's going to come forward. He's going to be swinging hard with the right hand. I particularly think he should be testing the grappling of Kevin Borjas in this spot, because I do think that the jiu-jitsu of Costa is the widest difference in skills between these two guys. I also think Costa's had a pretty decent I think he's had a pretty decent run up to the UFC. I don't think he's quite shown as good as he is. I think that he is pretty live to get the sub in this spot. I think that Kevin Borjas has a pretty clear way to win this fight, turn it into a dogfight, keep it on the feet. Even in that spot, I'm nervous with the judges, especially if Costa's landing the bigger shots here. If Borjas is out striking him, is the power in Costa's way. I think Costa has decent leg kicks and stuff as well that I think could slow down Borjas as the fight goes and eventually work his way into the grappling. So I like Alessandro Costa here by submission, but I've seen pretty much exclusive love for Borjas KO, and other things. So I'll start with 2 cents. I know that he is on the other side, so I'm curious, and then we'll work our way around.
Well, dude, I'm on the other side, but actually very largely agree with your breakdown. I can't really push back on anything. I do think Costa, more. I give him the experience advantage. I definitely give him the jiu-jitsu advantage. So yeah, I think it's going to be imperative for Borjas to keep this on the feet. I like Borjas by KO. His money line is not quite juicy enough for me to just bet him straight up. And I definitely think that if it's anything near close, he's going to get fucked pretty bad in a decision. I could be wrong about that, but I just don't feel super confident about Kevin winning a decision. But I do think he's the better striker, and I think he's the more durable striker. Costa's been knocked out twice, so I'll probably put a few ducats that says that he gives Costa knockout loss number 3, but the lines haven't dropped yet, so I got to wait on that.
Fair enough. Lou, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I think it's tricky to evaluate Costa's UFC run because the 2 losses, the Albazi one, he was very short notice, and then he lost to the guy in the main event.
Right.
And then his win doesn't really mean anything to me because Flick is just done.
Right.
So I don't really know how to evaluate him. And then Borjas, yeah, he looked good against Van, but how often do we do this where it's he looked good in a loss? It's okay, are we overcapping him? He looked good because he had one really good round against a very good guy in Van, a rising star, but he still lost. He had some moments. So
and Van's 21, 22 himself.
I kind of think that one of the ways to attack this, if you like the Costa side, live bet it. I think that Borjas probably, if he's going to have high success, it's going to be early. Seems just not want to conserve his cardio and just come out blazing. Maybe get a knockdown, maybe put Costa in trouble. You could probably get Costa at plus 200 or better after round 1. I'm picking Borjas here. I just think he's going to have the optics. But you and 2 cents said, I think the grappling of Costa could easily win him minutes, especially as this fight goes on. If he gets a takedown late in the first, I think he probably has a cardio advantage against Borjas, but we shall see. But I'm going to pick Borjas. I just think it's a tight margins fight. I'd rather get the plus money. Borjas probably has the optics on the feet. Costa definitely has the optics on the ground. So small, lean Borjas.
Yeah, I really do like this fight to start out the card. It's a pretty high quality fight, actually. Lucky, are you joining me on the Costa side? This is a fight we'd be breaking down on LFA a couple of years ago in the heyday of the LFAs when they had when they just had the whole card was just stacked back. Oh man, we'd have it opening with an Ozzy Diaz fight. Now Ozzy Diaz has no hair. No offense to the no hair gentleman on the panel here. Lucky Locks, what's your thoughts on this one though?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a fun fight. Costa's 1-2 in the UFC, but both those losses were to ranked guys. Debuted against Albazi on short notice. We can probably give him a break there. And then against Van, he had a pretty good first round, kind of got cooked in the next 2 and schooled Jimmy Flick. But, like Lou said, that doesn't really tell me much. I hope you can school Jimmy Flick if you're going to be doing anything. Yeah. So, that's the other side of the spectrum there. But, Steve Erceg beat him pretty convincingly in the next fight, which, in the context of this fight, I don't feel like that tells you a whole lot. I mean, he is getting a step down in competition, but it's kind of a tricky one to evaluate where, Borjas is making his second UFC appearance. Had a good showing on the Contender Series. He beat Victor Diaz. That's a very solid regional guy, 125 pounds. And, on the regionals, Borjas was a finishing machine. He finished all 8 wins before coming on the Contender Series, throws out a lot of volume. He also can get hit a fair bit. I mean, Victor Diaz got him down 5 times. I think that Costa probably could have some grappling success here as well. So I got to lean slightly to the Costa side here just because I feel like he does have the grappling upside, but I'm really not super passionate about either of the sides, and I definitely don't really want to be laying chalk on Costa in this one. But I would give him more than a 50% chance to win. So I guess I'm going to pick Costa to win this one.
Yeah, it sounds like this fight is just about lined correctly by what I'm hearing here. Minus 135, plus 115 to Borjas here. Yeah, I mean, I do think that, I'm seeing Brahma mention the decision for Costa. I'm going to trust my read on the grappling here. He's pretty aggressive with his grappling as well. He's not he definitely is like a submission over position type of guy on the ground. I think after kind of the lack of fundamentals I saw at Borjas, I'm willing to take a shot on it here, but he might have been talked out of the Zhongli because of you guys. So thanks a lot for that. But we concoct it as we go here. Good first fight. Next fight, we built it once and fell apart because Bonfim missed weight. Now we're booking it back, and Bonfim's a minus 520 favorite. And it's the lesser of the Bonfims. It's always been the lesser of the Bonfims, and Ismail Bonfim here. And he's taking on the 41-year-old Twitter thumbs texting, going after different fight picks or we want fights or whatever that was, Vince Pichel. So, I mean, I'm just going to kind of keep this fight short and simple here. I think Ismail Bonfim probably puts away Vince Pichel somewhere inside of the first round. I think he just overwhelms him. But sure, there's a spot where I see Vince Pichel doing what Vince Pichel does and just kind of – he hasn't fought in a year and a half. He's had multiple injuries. He had multiple injuries before these injuries as well. He's not getting any younger. I can't trust his body at this point, but is Bonfim going to make weight? How does he look making weight? This is post-USADA now. Bonfim, I do believe, dips into some of the supplements that USADA wasn't a fan of. So we could see the best-looking Bonfim ever. I don't want anything to do with this fight. End of story. I think Vince Pichel could find a way to win this fight as he has many times in his UFC career. So I really am not paying chalk to find this out. I don't have a lot of faith in Ismail, especially coming off of that Benoit Saint Denis fight. I blame him for why Benoit Saint Denis got the rise he did so quickly. This is Ismail's fault. So I guess I'll take Ismail to finish him quickly, but Vince by decision could very likely happen. If I had more balls, I'd play that, but I don't. Lou?
Yeah, I'm not betting this one. I mean, it's dog or pass in terms of the money line. This line's wider than it was for the original matchup a few months ago. I just don't love. I've never really been a fan of Ismail Bonfim. He's okay. He beat Terrence McKinney. He beat Terrence McKinney. Congratulations. Okay. He waited till he got tired after 2 minutes and he beat him. So I'm not really interested in this one from a betting perspective. I think it's probably a little wide and disrespectful to Pichel, who's at least shown that he can deal with a pressure striker.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in his 40s and everything you just said. He hasn't fought in a long time. Yeah, I mean,
he gassed out against Madsen last time. That's not a great way to go.
I mean, I'd probably lean overs. I think that I know Bonfim's more of a finisher machine. Pichel's kind of a decisionator, but I think Pichel could probably at least make it weird and clinchy and maybe not let Bonfim get off a lot of his stuff. I see Glenn's flinging 6 bets a fight in the chat. It's probably a good way to win.
More.
I don't know how Pichel wins decision unless it's super, super, super clear. I think all the big shots will be from Bonfim.
Yeah.
But I think Pichel could maybe hang on. So I'd lean overs as a bet, but I'm not going to touch this one at all.
Yeah, I mean, let me just, and then I'll throw it over to you, Lucky. Let me just see. With Pichel, so he's 14-3, and I believe, he's gotten one of every loss, but the decision loss he did have, he just kind of, when he's outgunned, it, and it's usually because the fighter he's facing has superior wrestling. I don't think we necessarily know that with Ismail Bonfim. The fights where he struggled, the fighter he's facing has just been way better of a wrestler where he couldn't get his wrestling going. That's not really the case here, so that's another reason to just stay away from me. Lucky?
Yeah, I mean, Bonfim, he split his 2 UFC fights too far, and this is a guy that Aaron, you and I have talked about, like, I think
For
40
years.
times
Yeah.
on this channel over the years. He had a beautiful KO over Terrence McKinney. I mean, it was really nice to look at. And then, Benoit Saint-Denis showed him kind of the levels in the next one. But, Vince Pichel is obviously not BSD. Bonfim has 4 losses. One was Adriano Moraes, guy that beat Demetrius Johnson. He was literally like 15 years old in that fight. Some other guy beat him when he was 15. He lost to Moicano when he was 18. And then he lost to Saint-Denis, who's number 13 in the division right now. So, I mean, Pichel, to his credit, has had a pretty good UFC career. I mean, he's 7-3 in the UFC. He lost his last fight to Madsen. That was like 1.5, 2 years ago, though. He was supposed to fight Jesse Ronson, but got injured. Was supposed to fight Saint-Denis himself. Had to pull out of that as well. And then this fight with Bonfim was originally scheduled. The weight cut for Bonfim got botched, and it's rebooked now. And it's just been a long time since he's been in there, man. He's had injuries. He's had a bunch of cancellations. He's 41. I mean, I think this one's Bonfim. That's not breaking news. I mean, he's minus 500, 5xx here. Like, I'm not enthusiastic about playing that. I'm not going to be playing it. But I think, he's going to be able to probably keep this on the feet for the most part. I think he's the better striker, and I think probably he's going to knock him out. But it's not like I'm pounding the table on on betting it, really.
It's really hard to knock out Vince Pichel. You have to German suplex him like 17 times in a row. Man, Rustam Kavalov was really going to be something. That was awesome. That was so cool. The rise of MMA now I'll turn it over to you, 2 cents. But the rise of MMA prospects when they haven't lost yet, and that just feeling like it's untouchable. He was just, oh man, remember Rustam Kavalov, everybody? Go look up Rustam Kavalov.
Vaguely, and only because of that fight. That's
after that he's so average.
Fight.
Anyways, what's your thoughts on minus 520 Ismail Bonfim?
Well, boys, let me just be the cautionary tale for everybody, because I am that fucking dumbass Bobo that parlayed Bonfim minus 5xx. I did parlay him, I think, exactly at minus 500. He is more confident Brazilians to win on this card. Like, now, yeah, that parlay I put him in 3-legger. It is plus money, but yeah, I had to put a couple more in there to get it that way. But yeah, I like Bonfim here. It's like, I like what Lucky said. Like, Pichel has had a good career. But Aaron said about the prospects, and it's like, you look at his wins, and Joaquim Silva's not a bad win. Jim Miller's definitely a good win. But a lot of it is like Roosevelt Roberts and Austin Hubbard and these like recycled through tough dudes. And then it's just a bunch of jobbers. So like, yes, Vince is tough, but is he really fighting that many fucking dangerous strikers? The answer is no. He's fighting a bunch of pity-pat decisionators and like wrestling dudes. And he loses against the wrestlers. But I think Bonfim, you can make a case that he's one of the more dangerous strikers he's fought recently. And I think literally with every passing day, the fight becomes easier for Bonfim and harder for Pichel just because of the age gap. But yeah, I like Bonfim. It wouldn't totally stun me if he like looks really good early. Pichel like wins the next 2 and they just fucking daylight rob Pichel in Brazil. But yeah, I like Bonfim. He may not cover that line, but I think he does win regardless.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
To piggyback off his point, he's definitely one of the 2 best Bonfims that's out there.
I think that's a hot take.
For sure.
All right. I'll allow it. I'll count it. So, yeah, I mean.
Does have better cardio, too. I would give him the cardio edge over Gabriel. And I think that's like one thing. It's like, okay, well, if he does like kind of run out of gas, is Pichel just going to crush him? It's like, he probably goes to the cards, but I don't know.
Fair enough. All right. That's enough on that one there. We'll move on to, a fight that I think we're going to get to see the coin for here. This really looks like a coin fight to me. A 6-2 Dion Barboza, LFA fame, very, highly accredited over there, but, had some hiccups along the way. Lost to Josiah Nunez, lost to Jenna Bishop, who we've seen over in PFL. Did get the submission win, facing an undefeated Lithuanian 5-0. 25-year-old Ernesta Karkati. This is a fight where I'm just much more familiar. I've been familiar with Dion Barboza. I feel that she's, been kind of promised for a little while here. It took a little bit longer to get to the highest level than I think a lot of people expected, but her just overall jiu-jitsu, I think, again, I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I think that a few of these fights, the grappling edge is just too wide, and with Barboza, I'm much more confident with her ability to get the fight to the ground. So I do think Barboza wins this fight. I think she does submit her opponent or control her for the 15 minutes. So I think that there's a pretty wide skill gap here. Ernesta pretty untested here, and I'm not betting Dion at minus 220, but she's a side. Lucky.
Yeah, Diani Barbosa was an Olympic judoka. I'm pretty sure she's an Olympian in something. I'm 99% sure it's judo. And now she's a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well. So, she's pretty well versed in the grappling, I'd say. I mean, she beat Karini Silva on the regionals. She lost to Josiane Nunes and Jenna Bishop. And she's just faced like a much, much higher level of competition than Ernesta has. She's on a 3-fight win streak currently. Won her most recent fight with an armbar in the first round in Contender Series. And Kira Skady is a kickboxer coming off the Contender Series as well. She beat Carly Judas and threw out an unbelievable amount of volume in that fight. I mean, she attempted over 400 strikes in that fight. It was actually a pretty good fight, man, to be fair. It was fun to watch. She's definitely going to have some measurable advantages here in the height and reach, but I don't think Ernesta has faced anybody with the grappling upside of Barbosa so far. I think Barbosa probably is going to be able to get it to the floor, and I think that she has a massive advantage in that domain when it does get there. So I think she's live to get a submission here when she is able to get it down. While this fight is standing, I probably favor Ernesta, sure, but I think eventually this one hits the mat, and I think the skill gap's pretty wide. So kind of like I said about the other two favorites that we talked about, like, do I want to bet it? No, but do I see why they're favored? Yeah. So I'm picking Diani.
Yeah, the first three favorites, I would say this is the favorite I feel the most comfortable of, honestly, with the matchups. So, 2 cents.
Well, goddamn, boys, you almost just talked me out of the coin. It's got it checks all the boxes, it's got all the criteria, what have you, for a coin. It's like, it's low level. I really don't know who's going to win, and most importantly, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to bet it.
Wide odds.
Yeah, the odds maybe a little wide. Yeah,
it checks all the boxes.
Yeah, it checks all the boxes, dude. And you know what? I think we kind of got jobbed last week. I thought Lipsky won that, so I think the coin kind of got fucked a little bit. I told myself I was going to flip the coin coming into this, and that is exactly what I'm going to fucking do. I'm going to flip the coin here.
The coin is now 4-1, by the way.
Yeah, the coin has been very accurate recently.
Lipsky did lose that fight because I bet Silva, so Lipsky did lose that fight.
Of course. But yeah, we're gonna give it the coin. So I will give the favorite Barboza as heads, and then the Lithuanian chick will get tails. But here we go. The coin will speak.
Stand by. Minus 240 favorite Barboza.
Ooh, that was a nice flip too.
That means it counts.
And the coin says, "Holy shit!" Is the Lithuanian chick.
The coin is going dog. The coin is going plus 195 Ernesta.
The coin is going Rosa.
The coin doesn't care about the echo chambers.
Nope.
The coin thinks for itself. All right. Lou, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I like Barbosa here. I mean, Lucky's bringing up the Carly Judice fight. It was a great fight to watch, but Judice has been fighting MMA for like a year. It's like softball player, his brother, like, it's like, yeah, you should go fight here. And then she was like super raw, and that was a 50-50 fight. Like, I don't really know how good Karasetti is on the feet. I don't know if she just throws a lot of volume or like, because honestly, Judice was so raw that I don't even know why she was on the Contender Series at that point. Barbosa should have a clear path here. There's a prop that I'm interested in, even though it feels way too wide for a fight like this with a grappling advantage. The Barbosa KO is plus 2,200.
Oh, Christ.
I know she doesn't have any KOs. I know she's got 3 subs, 3 decisions. I know Karasetti's never been KO'd. But if you think this is a fight with like a lot of grappling, it's just so wide for like if she gets mount.
Gets a crucifix, and the kickboxer doesn't know what to do.
It's if you think she has a pronounced grappling advantage, it's a crazy wide prop for somebody who should have a cardio advantage here too, just wearing around on the ground. So I like Barbosa to get a finish here. Yes, it's probably a submission. She may not even attack ground and pound. But how do you ignore 22-1 here
Listen,
when she's going to be in positions to do it.
Listen, I bet Max Holloway by submission plus 2,500 in the last fight. So, like,
yeah. I mean, it's
Justin could have tapped on his way down to the.
And like, I'll just throw this out there too, because Kara said he's never been finished, so we really don't know. You know, maybe she just takes all these submissions and just hangs in. Maybe Barbosa just gets really frustrated. Just all right, I'm just gonna wear her out. Like instead of taking her back and going for a choke, just starts wearing her out. You just don't know. It's more the line is crazy. If it was KO was like plus 800, I have no interest in it. 2,200, I have interest in. So
yeah, no, that's a real good shout there, Lou. I appreciate
it. And in the distance, like her in the distance is plus 180 and the sub's plus 185. So like, so never bet her sub.
No,
like if you bet her sub and she gets a KO, you deserved it at that point because you were greedy for 5 cents.
Right. Yeah, not just
my 5 cents.
Just my 5 cents. All right, we're gonna move on. Minus 240 plus 195 to the coin and Ernesta. If the coin gets that one, my lord, that's a hit for the coin. I'm gonna have to start tailing the coin.
It was a strong flip too, so the coin is either totally full of shit or
This is a big coin fight. Now I'm all of a sudden very interested in Ernesta versus Dion. Great, thanks a lot, coin. All right, next fight here at 155, Marcus Ruffy versus Jamie Malarkey here. Marcus Ruffy, Brazilian, Conor McGregor, or One Shot, whichever you want to call him. Yeah, fight nerds. Fighting nerds having a lot of fighters on this card. Obviously, 4 months ago, Malarkey got KO'd for like the 5th or 6th time in his career. It's definitely a big aspect of his game. Is that he likes to get knocked out by punches. He's a big fan of doing that. With Ruffy, he's not like a big bopper. That's the thing. It's going to be like volume and attrition that like has to kind of wear you down with him. And honestly, I really think that this is the kind of fight that Malarkey is in a get right spot against. He's a fighting guy making his UFC debut who I'm not super impressed with, honestly. He's almost 31 years old making it into UFC at this point. I feel like that's a bit of a red flag. He's not like a huge guy either. And he doesn't hit all that hard. So like that's something that Malarkey isn't going to have to worry about to kind of, I think, maybe push the pace in this fight, get the fight, kind of into spots where Ruffy's in, and just kind of, even though he's 29, outvet this guy. I think he can just do. I really do. I'm not concerned about Malarkey getting KO'd here. Watch him get KO'd. Oh, well, if he gets KO'd again, I know, but I'm taking a shot on the plus 180 dog. I don't think he should be this wide of a dog at all. I get it. You can play a highlight reel of him getting his ass knocked out over and over again. But like Ruffy has not done anything to prove to me that he can just come in here and dispatch of him like he's Jalen Turner or some of these other guys, or even Nasrat Hastraz. Like, he's going to have to show me it, and at plus 180, I'm taking the shot on Malarkey. So, tell me I'm crazy. I don't care. Lucky. Is it Lucky or 2 cents? I don't even know. 2 cents.
Mine's going to be short. I got Ruffy, but it's not with any kind of confidence. Like, I don't begrudge anybody for taking Malarkey or betting him. And it's really just like it's the echo chamber reason for not wanting to fucking be on the Malarkey side. It's just like he has a dodgy chin and like Ruffy's a good striker. Yeah, I mean, he might not have like the one punch power, but I don't know if it'll necessarily take that at this point. Like I think he could hurt Malarkey and then get kind of an attritional like knockout against the cage. That'll be my pick. But yeah, I'll be rooting for you because I'm not betting it. And yeah, I think Malarkey has a huge experience advantage. And you can make an argument that, yeah, like, Ruffy's been knocked out once himself too, and he's really fucking fought nobody. So, yeah, I don't hate you. I'll be rooting for you.
I mean, Prado could bop. Michael Johnson could bop. Like, I mean, he can survive punches, and he's 29, not 49. Lou. He just looks like he's 49.
So I'm not betting this one either because I feel like anybody betting on Ruffy is just betting against Malarkey. Like, I don't think anybody's looking at his skill set and being like, "Oh, this guy's a can't miss prospect." It's like, no, you think Malarkey's just cooked, and you're bringing up Malarkey, some of his opponents. Like, a very good argument should be made that he's 1-5 in his last 6 fights. Like, I didn't think he won the McDessie fight. I didn't think he won the
I had
Michael
a bet
Johnson.
I had a bet on the McDessie fight too.
I did too. I had the 3.5 too. So like at least I got something, but
Right.
I didn't think he beat Michael Johnson. The Prado fight, Prado took the fight short notice and it was his debut. If they ran that back now, Prado probably murders him.
Yeah, that
And
is
then
that's where he loses. Yeah.
And then before that, like he beat Devonta Smith, who is awful, and Kama Worthy, who is like the chinniest dude.
All
to
those
ever
guys
do it.
can pop harder than Ruffy.
But they all have like humongous defensive liabilities. And it's not to say that Ruffy's some defensive wizard. That's why I'm not betting it. Because I feel like nobody's betting on Ruffy because they think he's good. They're betting on Ruffy because they think Malarkey's cooked. And I don't like, I've talked about that multiple times in the show. I do not like those kind of bets. Betting against somebody is very different than being like, well, this guy's skill set's really good. If he was higher volume early, I'd consider it. But the fact that he's not, I mean, he's throwing like, what do you have, 12, 13 strikes in the first round or whatever in the contenders. Like the guy just doesn't throw a lot of volume.
No.
I think Malarkey, I mean, the reason he got the McDessie fight is volume. And it wasn't even volume that was landing. It was just throwing a lot of volume. So if Malarkey hangs in here and this fight goes to decision, he probably wins. So even in Brazil, he probably wins because he probably threw 100 more strikes than Ruffy did.
Yeah,
So,
and Ruffy needs a lot of space and does not strike well off his back foot at all. You even saw it on the Contender Series. He needs to be the one moving forward and dictating the fight to like set up his 1 or 2 shots. He doesn't throw combinations a lot. And again, the power's not there. So I feel like this is a spot where you're getting Malarkey at almost 2-1.
I mean, Malarkey decisions plus 375. I would probably want a little more.
Yeah, I'm fine with just the money line here because I don't know how Ruffy responds.
I can tell you without looking, I remember that against Prado, I liked Malarkey decision for a lot of the reasons we're talking about. But it was like plus 240, and I'm like, I need better than that. And then he won a decision by making it boring on the third, and I'm like, fuck.
He might do that again.
240 was a gift. And now it's like, I still don't think plus 375 is just, I'm dicey. I'm nervous to take anybody's decision prop in Brazil for obvious reasons, unless it's super clear cut. And I don't know that Malarkey's it would be super clear cut. I think he would throw more punches, but it doesn't mean they're going to land. Then it becomes like, do you like the optics? And also, you know, yes, Malarkey has to survive getting bonked. So, like, he's less than 6 months removed from a KO. So we don't know if his chin's all the way back.
4 months removed, like not very much time at all, and he got hit a lot in that KO.
Right.
Like,
so I'm gonna pick Malarkey for the show, just because I just don't
for that fucking cloud, huh? Unreal.
just for the clout.
Yeah.
Just my clout. Just my 2 clouds.
You trying to take my fucking gimmick, bro? Whatever. I still love you, Lou.
All right, easy there, Pub Sports. Lucky Locks, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Huffy is a fighting nerds guy. He's making his UFC debut after a knockout win on Contender Series. He beat Raymond Magomedov, who, I mean, he's a solid fighter. That was a good win. He probably needed to get that finish in the 3rd round, and you know, hats off to him. He got it. Malarkey is a guy who's, I mean, he's not 30 yet somehow, but I don't know. I kind of feel like the wheels are. I'm starting to see them come off a little bit. I mean, he's a 500 fighter in the UFC at 5-5, which that's not an easy thing to do. Like experience edge. Definitely going his way. I agree. Huffy really hasn't fought anybody. But you know, his last 3 losses, he was knocked out in all of them. Jalen Turner knocked him out. We can probably excuse that one. He won a split over Michael Johnson where he was knocked down, and I'm not convinced he won that fight. I agree with Lou. I don't think he won that. You know, he beat Prado, you know, fair play, but Naimov knocked him out. He's a decent hitter. Hawk Paras knocked him out. I don't really look at him as like a really big hitter. I look at him as a good striker. Not really a huge hitter. You know, Huffy comes from a good camp. He's got the home game in Brazil. He's got a lot less mileage on the odometer. I mean, I think could probably get a KO here. I mean, I'm not like the line has kind of gotten to a point where I don't know how you justify laying minus 220 or whatever it is on him. But, you know, for the sake of a straight up pick, I'm probably going to lean his way. I have zero interest in betting that though.
Yeah, minus 220 plus 180 right now. I don't think it gets any higher than that. I expect it to come back to about plus 160 by the fight. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I've missed on fading Malarkey many times, so betting him probably won't work out much better either. But we shall see. If one 155 fight, dicey fight wasn't enough, we have two dicey 155 fights that this one I don't want anything to do with at all. This is as dicey as it gets, I feel like, for me. Joaquin Silva, he has everybody's favorite highlight against Arman Sarukian that one time when he rocked Arman Sarukian. So I think that makes him like a top 5 striker in the division because he had that moment. Adriano Martins is top 10 still because of his KO, obviously. So, I mean, we got some real good moments, but
eat your heart out, Jai Herbert.
God bless Jai Herbert. Only mention of Jai Herbert on the show tonight. But yeah, Drakkar Klose came back. He, looked very strong against Joseph Selecki, had one of the 2 slam finishes on that fight card there. You would think that he's just kind of able to use his wrestling. He has decent, boxing, decent stand-up, good pressure on the feet as well. I think he just kind of wears down and, beats down Joaquin Silva as the fight goes, and I would hope he finishes him, but it's Drakkar Klose. He doesn't get a ton of finishes. So Drakkar Klose by decision, I think most likely is the case here, but I could see Joaquin landing a big shot and putting him away too. Drakkar's chin has definitely been touched before, so wouldn't surprise me, but I'm going with Drakkar Klose by a decision. I don't want anything to do with it. So, Jimmy saying Silva's going to fuck him up. I hope so. I don't really care. I don't know. Let's go with Lou to start this one.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen. I like Drakkar Klose, man. I think he's kind of had a little bit of bad luck on his run, like the injury at the face-offs and all that, but he looks a little more aggressive now. Like the Hoffa Garcia fight was really weird because I felt like when I watched it back, I remembered him just throwing a lot more volume and hurting Garcia a lot more, and I guess he didn't. But he wins the Selecki fight and he wins the Jenkins fight, and these are fights that he should. The Jenkins is awful. Like he should have steamrolled him. He like 10-7'd him and then he put him away. And the Selecki fight, I mean, it was so binary, but he's like, I don't care. I'll like grapple with you. Like I give no shits. Like I never know what to make of. Like I think his skill set's really good. His problem typically has been a lack of urgency. But in a couple of these fights, he's starting to show more urgency in his fights. And if he does, I think Joaquin Silva's in a lot of trouble. But I think Silva is one of the more hittable guys in the division. And I think Klose, if he wants to win by decision, could just stay safe and pick him apart on the feet. I don't see any grappling in this fight. I think it's just going to be 15 minutes to stand up.
Yeah.
And I think Klose has superior striking. You just worry about Klose's durability, but I really think just over 15 minutes going to pick him apart. I think he can get him out of there late. I'd play round 3, probably I don't see a one punch KO from Klose. He's more of an attritional KO guy, historic, when he's going to get finishes. So I'd probably play Klose late round props. 2-3 KOs probably going to be decent on FanDuel when that comes out. But yeah, I like Klose and I like him. I think the line's right. I don't think it's that wide for for a 15-minute striking fight.
If this wasn't in Brazil, I think more about playing the close side. It's keeping me from a lot of action on this card, honestly. Lucky.
Yeah, Silva's 2-3 in his last 5. I mean, he's 35 years old, but he doesn't have a million fights, so you would think he doesn't have a ton of mileage. But then you kind of look at how he's losing, and he's gotten knocked out in 3 of his 4 losses. And his last 3 losses, he got knocked out in all of them. And I mean, the Sarukian one, you could probably excuse that ground and pound loss there. But I mean, Ricky Glenn knocked him out in 37 seconds. Ricky Glenn has 1 knockout in 10 UFC fights, and that's who it is. Hack Perez knocked him out. I mean, I keep saying I don't think he's that big of a hitter. We're talking about 2 guys that he knocked out. But I mean, 6 out of 8 UFC wins. Every other win besides the guys on this card, he's gone to decision. And Silva's only wins in the last literally 5 years are Jesse Bronson and Clay Guida. So Drakkar Klose has quietly put together a pretty good UFC run, right? He's 8-2 in the promotion. One of those losses was Beneil Dariush. You can't really fault him for that. He did get knocked out there. And, Silva has some knockouts to his name as well. I mean, he's still got some fast switch left in him. USADA's gone. I think he's going to show up looking good. So I do think Klose will kind of have to be a little bit careful about slugging it out. But, he's never been submitted. And, Silva gets hit more than Drakkar Klose does. Last time out, Klose got Joe Selecki out of there in under 2 minutes. Won a decision over Rafa Garcia and finished Brandon Jenkins, which obviously isn't the most impressive thing we've ever seen, but it still shows that he's kind of finding that finishing touch lately. He has a win over Bobby Green that I think has aged pretty well, and Drakkar Klose is actually somehow older than Silva, but I think he has held up a little better in terms of durability and really in terms of viability as a cage fighter. So I got to go with Drakkar Klose here, and like I said, I feel like he's finding that finishing touch lately as well. So I do think he's live to get a knockout in this fight.
Man, that is a quiet 8-2. Just my 2 cents.
That was beautiful, boys. I can't add much to it. I'm on the Drakkar Klose side myself. I'm kind of with Lou, kind of feeling maybe a late round knockout. But yeah, I largely agree with everything, and I think he's the better wrestler. And it's just Silva does hit hard, and like Lucky said, he probably gonna be all sauced up. So I'm not betting close, but I think the line's about right. But it's a fight that's kind of like I could see a lot of different things happening. Like I could see either guy getting knocked out. I could see Drakkar Klose potentially getting robbed if it goes to the cards and Silva had a couple big moments and like clips him or something. But you like Lucky was saying, you go back through and look at his record. It's like, dude, he has been chinned a few times, and it's not by the like most dangerous dudes ever, and Klose does crack. So yeah, give me Klose by like second or third round knockout. I think what Lou said about those playing those two potentially is pretty sharp.
Yeah, no, I would not be surprised if Klose ends up wrestling at some point in this fight. Whether he should or not, that's maybe another discussion. But yeah, we're on Klose here, minus 185 favorite currently, plus 155 to Joaquin Silva. So next fight, we got another Silva, is John Silva, William Gomis at 145 here. Oh, I think this is another fight that I don't really want a whole lot to do with. I think it's going to be super close. I think the split play could be very live here because we're going to have moments and powerful sequences by John Silva. And I think a lot of minutes won by kind of William Gomis and precision striking and movement and things that the crowd's not going to like. The crowd's going to be all over John Silva. Every time John Silva throws an attempted spinning punch of any sort, there's going to be the crowd's going to be, I think, more into this fight than any fight of the early prelims, at least up to this point. So, and Gomis just can't help himself. He's very, very good, but has to fight very close, so technical, lets his opponent stay in the fight. Gomis is significantly better than John Silva, so I see Glenn Bott's question, why is Gomis getting steamed? He's the better fighter, significantly better, much better technician. I don't think he gets into a war that he doesn't want to get into necessarily. I think he could really frustrate Silva. Silva didn't blow me away at all from his Contender Series fight, but like either way, it's hard for me to take the Brazil out of this fight. And I just think that John Silva is going to find a way to win. So John Silva by split decision. It's not a super technical breakdown. I'm not betting it. I want nothing to do with it. Lucky.
Silva, he won in Contender Series, and then he comes into the UFC and wins his debut against Weston Wilson. So, congratulations for for winning that one. I mean, that's
now it's time for your UFC debut.
Yeah, about as free of a square as you can get in your first fight. I mean, he really didn't have a stellar strength of schedule in the Brazilian regionals either. I mean, he threw out lots of good volume in his Dana White's Contender Series fight, so we know he can do that. He's a good finisher. He's a boatload of KOs. We know he can knock people out. But, I mean, Gomis has definitely faced a tougher opposition thus far in his career. He's 3-0 in the UFC. He's 13-2 overall. The losses were Morgan Shahryar and Saladin Parnasse. And, I mean, Parnasse is really good. I really hope the UFC sign him. I'm pretty high on him. And, both those losses came before he was 20 years old. He's an MMA Factory product. I think he's pretty solid, man. And he's going to have big advantages here in measurables. That's going to often be the case when you're a 6-foot featherweight. We get Southpaw versus Orthodox here as well. And Gomis kind of tends to fight at a pretty tepid pace. And it seems like he does a good job of kind of lulling his opponents into slowing down the fight and kind of fighting in his world. And I think Silva definitely gets more out there over the course of 15 minutes. I think he's going to do more to score. They're in Brazil. You mentioned that. But Gomes just has way better experience and way more impressive wins, in my opinion. I'm not really blown away by either guy, you know, but, Silva, is he more dangerous? Sure. But I feel like as the underdog, I think that, I'd rather be on the Gomes side if I had to be on a side. I just think he's a little bit cleaner. So I'm not betting it, but I would lean to the dog and William Gomes here.
Yeah. If this line was the same at the Apex, I would be betting Gomes, honestly. So like maybe I'm overcorrecting my bets this week, but I'm going to be more cautious because of it. I can't trust it. 2 cents.
God, I really want to fucking pick and bet William Gomes. I do not like John Silva whatsoever. I hate his fucking face. I hate his stupid fucking corny, like barking histrionics. I just cannot stand the motherfucker. But like, I'm going to pick him. Like, I feel like if I was to bet Gomes or whatever, it would just be purely out of spite. I think Silva's going to get a robbery here. Kind of like the last one. I think he might have the bigger moments potentially. I hope he just gets knocked the fuck out, but I think that he will have like a couple like round stealing moments. And like Aaron said, the crowd will just fucking bust a nut anytime he gets close to landing a fucking punch. So yeah, I'm going to take Silva by robbery, but I don't want nothing to do with it. And I hope I'm fucking wrong.
Yeah. Lou.
I'm gonna just quote my my dear friend DFS by the numbers Brady here on how the fight will end. I'm not a judge, but if I was, I would favor the barking. Everything too. I hate Silva too, man. He's annoying. He looks like this wrestler that's been around for 20 years that I can't stand, named Sean Spears, and I hate him too. I don't know, man. Like he's one of the few guys that like, how like Breeden just started barking and it changed the fight. Is this like the new thing? Is this the new base of MMA? Like just barking?
Is Breeden on contract with a fight organization yet?
I feel like no, I don't think so. I feel like Gomes.
It's a shame.
So his win condition is make the fight boring as shit. And as much as like I kind of hate watching his fights, it's a talent. It is really a talent to make these fights ugly because they go right in his wheelhouse and he just like, all right, I'm just gonna take the guy apart. Who's the fucking guy he just beat? I can't think of who he beat. The Francis Marshall.
Oh,
he just made that fight. He took everything Marshall does well and he negated it. And he's like, nope, I'm not letting you be at range. I'm not getting into a firefight. Why can't he do that exact same thing here? Just avoid a firefight, let the crowd boo the shit out of this, and win like a pretty clear 30-27. Like, and if there's grappling, which I think there should be, what does Silva look like in the third, man? Everything he throws is like cardio sapping. Like he doesn't throw jabs. He just winds up and like he's trying to throw somebody out at the plate from left field. Like, so I don't know.
I all these things I agree with, and all of them are.
I don't want to bet this one either, to be honest. Every fight I say I'm not betting is just more money I'm putting on the Kentucky Derby, by the way.
Yeah.
Literally everyone I'm like, all right, that's more on my horse.
Yeah, no. Well, if he makes it boring, the judges are probably gonna be like, you didn't want to fight. That's not the Brazilian way. We're going to give it to John Silva because he's not a coward. Like, okay, whatever. Like I might play the split decision, fight ends in split because that would make sense. So plus 100 to Silva or to Gomes, minus 120 to Silva. All right, we're done with the Silva portion of the card here. Moving on to the Mountain People part of the card with Elvis Brenner versus Maidebek Oralabe. Believe we've broken down Maidebek Oralabe fighter too, Lucky Locks, but we've both been on him, the Ululus, for quite a while here. I mean, I really like Elvis Brenner, and I wish he was not fighting one of my favorite kind of prospects right now. And maybe I'm giving him the kiss of death and Maidebek Oralabe, but what he did coming in at 170 on short notice very impressive as well. Like just crushed the face of Uros Medic. He's gonna go in there, and I think he's going to get the submission done or put him away. I think at some point in this fight, but if he doesn't, Elvis Brenner's live in this fight throughout the fight. That is something I'll say, and I'll be nervous about. He also has good jiu-jitsu, but I don't think that he'll be using the jiu-jitsu, I think, to on the ground as much as to kind of get up or use it to get up when he does get taken down. I'll be interested to see if he stops some takedowns then. Definitely I get the dog play on him, but for me, I think Maidevek Orlabi is going to dominate him either for 15 minutes or get him out of there at some point in the fight. I think that the wrestling advantage is way too big. I think he shoots within 20 seconds of the first round, and I think he kind of has his way with Elvis Brenner. So it's been a nice run for Brenner, but I think it stops here. 2 cents.
God, this is another one where just don't fucking listen to me. I am the worst fucking Elvis Brenner predictor. This dude is a constant fucking thorn in my side, which is why I'm not betting it. I'm picking Oral B, but to bet it would just be purely spite because, dude, I thought Zubaira got. I don't even like Zubaira, but he got fucking robbed bad. But it's Brazil, so like. That's another reason I cannot lay chalk on Oral by, but I think he's the better grappler. I think he is going to just fucking like use the Hillman DNA and father's cousin's way or whatever. So yeah, give me Oral B, but no bet. And yeah, I wouldn't be stunned if like my just can't pick a Brenner fight to save my fucking life streak continues, but let's hope not.
All right, Lou.
Yeah, I like Oral Bay here. He's the side for me. I know a lot of people are allegedly betting Brenner, and yet the line keeps blowing up. So I don't know where those people are. Look, man, I get Brenner's a nice story. I get it. And he's a Brazilian here. I get it. And Oral Bay looks like fucking second generation of human. Like, I get it. But Brenner is and will just continue to be the rest of his career an awful minute winner. Like, he's just not a guy who wins rounds. Like, he's losing until he's not. And this is literally the worst kind of guy you can face because Oral Bay, his striking's good. His durability's decent. I don't think Brenner, like, flash KOs him. And if there's grappling, it's Oral Bay getting him against the cage. He's not one of these guys shooting, like, and using a ton of energy. Like, when he goes for takedowns, gets you against the cage and he works. And he works and he works and he works. Gets a single leg. If that's not working, you make a mistake. Then he switches. Like, but he's really good at not letting you off the cage. I know Brenner's got some grappling, so maybe like he can stay safe in terms of like avoiding submissions on the ground. But man, I just see Oral Bay, and Oral Bay is not just like position. Like he throws a lot of strikes on the ground too. So I think these are decisive rounds he would win.
I agree.
If you, I look for the memes, I think it would be kind of a decent move. If you live bet Brenner after 2, where he's like plus 1,000, and you're like, okay, if he's going to win, the Hail Mary is probably his win condition anyway at that point.
Right.
But I think this is pretty clear Oral Bay. I don't think you're getting any value on this line, but an Oral Bay win, he covers this number.
I agree.
So, I'm not convinced, and I think he's the better striker too. He's a better striker and he's a better grappler. He's just not as like ridiculous. He doesn't have meme shit like Brenner does.
Yeah, he didn't punch Guram Kuzaladze in the neck and
right
him. So there's that. Neck punches are alive for Elvis. Lucky.
Yeah, Brenner 16-3 out of Shooter Box. He's 3-0 so far in the UFC. Beat Tukugov, finished Kuta Taladze, KO'd Kanan Krashuski, and his last one that was at 165-pound catch weight. And he had a share of doubters, but I think he's fairly legit in the UFC, man. And Oroba is a guy that I've been high on for a really long time. Obviously, we've talked about him a whole bunch of times on this channel. I'm a big fan of him. He's a very good wrestler with good pop in his shots. He made his debut at 170 against Medic. He's going to be at 155 pounds here. And I mean, that's going to be interesting to see because like he hasn't made that weight in like 3 years. I mean, he fought all of his LFA fights at 170. Medic that he fought at 170 is a former 155er. himself. So, I'm a big fan, and I get why he's the favorite. He's got big grappling upside. He's the scary Central Asian grappler archetype. Like that's what he is. But I mean, I have to say it, -250. Like, I don't like the number. I think Brenner throws more out there. I think he's a better striker. I've actually seen him at 155 pounds in the last 3 years. I stuffed all 4 takedowns from Takugov. He stuffed 2 out of 3 against Kutateladze, and I don't know, man. I can't get to -250 on oral by. Do I think he should be the favorite? Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I just don't like the number, I guess. That's
Yeah.
kind of the extent to my thoughts. And I'm not saying I'm lining up to beat Elvis Brenner because I don't think he wins. But yeah, I don't like -250 on Multibeck oral by here, even though I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with the number. It's like what I feel the fight is, but I didn't want it to be what the line was for the public. Yeah, and I completely agree with it, pretty much the whole breakdown here. So should be a good fight, and looking forward to seeing Majdevek and how he looks at 155 as well. So all good points there. All right, this is just unnecessary. This fight, Carolina Kolokaevich versus Yasmin Lucindo. I mean, I just think that Carolina definitely has a way she can win this fight. And that's just getting on that bicycle in that big octagon, popping out that jab, key on her way to a 15-minute affair where you're seeing a lot of Lucindo swinging and missing, or Lucindo lands one of those hammer shots and knocks out Carolina, because Carolina has shown she's allergic to punches that have power on them before. Either way, I want nothing to do with this. PASS Lucindo by decision, because that'd be the grossest thing to have to put us all through here. So Lucindo by decision is my pick. Why not? That sucks for everybody involved. Lou.
Rooting for clam bags. That's
decision.
what
I gave you 15 minutes. There you go.
Rooting for clam bags is what I'm going for here. I don't even know if there's like a really good prop. Like, especially on the Lucindo side, it's like in the distance is 135, decisions -105. Like, Kolokaevich by any method is plus 2,200. I'm not interested in that either, man. Like, I don't know how you play this. I don't parlay fights like this. I leave that to the Zhang Lees. I leave that to the Johnny K. Pixes of the world to parlay like over half around here and like to get that extra bump.
This will not be in the Zhongli, I'll tell you that right now.
But I mean, why is the line so wide? Age? Because like even skill set wise, it's not like Kolokaevich is like not that appreciatively worse skill set wise than Lucindo. It's just durability and age.
People really like Lucindo for some reason.
She's kind of, I don't know, man. She's never like super impressed me. Striking's decent, and she seems really tough. But like, that's every Mexican fighter that we've ever capped on the show. Yep. I know she's not Mexican, by the way. Like, but I feel like we've said that exact phrase about like a million fighters. Like, good striking, super, super tough. And those super, super tough people usually lose by decision to better strikers, like every single fight. So that's not the case here. It seems like a setup fight to get Lucindo on the right track. Just get her a good win against a name. But like, I mean, dude, over half a round is -2,500. That's my bet. That's parlay it with Bo Nickel from weeks ago, and you got a nice -1,200 lock. A lucky lock, if you will, for our guest on the show.
Very nice. Speaking of lucky locks, what's your thoughts on this scrap here?
Yeah, I mean, this certainly is a fight on the card. Kolokaevich is 38 years old, but she's having a little bit of a resurgence. She's kind of catching a second win. She's on a 4-fight win streak after losing 5 in a row. But, I mean, the women she's beating aren't exactly the finest the division has to offer. But, the credit where it's due, 4 straight is 4 straight in the UFC. Lucindo has 20 pro fights at 22, which is crazy. We're probably going to be using that against her in 10 years' time, saying She's only 32, but look at all the mileage. But
Yep.
anyway, she's not 32. She's 22. And she's 2-1 in the UFC. She lost her debut to Hauregi, who, is a decent enough prospect. She's won 2 straight since then. I think she's pretty good. I think Kovacevic is a great test for her, but I feel like it's a test that she passes. I think she's hungry. I think she's more aggressive. Like, I just see this as a fight that she wins. Like, I think she is more aggressive. I think she has better physicality, and that is, kind of half the battle in these situations. Sometimes the one concern would be that, Kovacevic is, she's decent. She has a pretty high striking output, which in the event that this goes to the decision, which I think is likely, could definitely help out KK. But yeah, I mean, give me Lucindo on this one. I just think she's better.
That's well said. The picking of the better fighter is a good way to go, and he is going with the better fighter here in Lucindo. 2 cents. Is the coin coming out?
No, it's not. I've got to pick, but again, man, it's just a fucked up line. But it's weird because it's a fight that, like, it's very. There's just a lot of. It's an age factors into it. It's an age and upside kind of fight where it's like, of course, on paper, dude, the experience advantage isn't even fucking close for KK. But she's 38. I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. Like, I'm definitely tempted to bet her at the line, but I don't know, man. Like Lucky was saying, she's 22 and she's already got like a decent amount of fights, and her one loss isn't bad, and it seems like a setup. But I'm just not touching it. No, thank you. I'll pick Lucindo, but it's not one that I'm interested in from a betting perspective whatsoever. But yeah, it's definitely tempting. Like KK, it just, if it hits the cards, they're not gonna fucking give it to her. I just think she'll just get robbed badly, even if she fucks Lucindo up. So yeah, give me Yasmin. However you pronounce it.
Justin's fired you 2 cents. He's hired the AI coin for next week, so he's disappointed.
Well, I did flip the coin. Were you here for that, sir?
Of course, Justin's here for every show. Justin's been here for more shows than I've been here for.
So what's the problem?
I don't know. He's probably just drunk on the Tecate. I'm sorry. That was unnecessary, Justin. I know you can afford better. Joe Anderson, Brito versus Jack Shore at featherweight here. Very interesting fight, which is one that, shout out to Stubborn Mick. He's probably resting right now, but when he listens to this tomorrow, we've been talking about it quite a bit from when the line opened. It's just one that immediately I just felt that there's a physicality edge for Brito, that when he has that edge, he's really able to take advantage of it. And I do believe that he's going to be able to stop the takedowns in the wrestling of Jack Shore. When Jack Shore's on the feet, Jack Shore will begin to panic, I think, against Brito. I think Brito knocks him out at some point in this fight. I know he's never been knocked out, but I think that this will be obviously that first knockout of the career here. I do like Brito's get-up game as well. If he does get taken down, he's looking to get up immediately. I know he had the submission of JSP, but I don't think he looks to do that in this spot against Jack Shore. I think he tests him on the feet and gets him out of there sometime in the first 2 rounds. So I really like Brito here. I just think the physical edges and overall just skill gap on the feet especially is going to be enough for Brito to put him away. So I like Joe Anderson by quite a bit. This is one of my favorites on the card. Lucky.
Yeah, this is, a really fun fight or we'll see if it is or not. Sometimes the ones that look really fun end up not being that fun, but it looks on paper like it's going to be a great way to close out the prelims. Brito is normally always exciting. He's 4-1 in the UFC. He lost his debut against Aljo, but he won 4 straight now. He also knocked out Chepi Mariscal in the regionals. He won a technical decision over Diego Lopez on the Contender Series. We saw him knock out Andre Felian under a minute. He beat, Lucas Alexander and Weston Wilson, which, that's whatever. But it was fun to watch. He had a good win over Jonathan Pierce in his last fight, which also gave birth to a very funny meme. He has a ton of powers in his hands. He's a pretty decent grappler as well. Jack Shore, also a very good fighter, kind of part of this new wave of Welsh guys that can really grapple. He's 17-1, 6-1 in the UFC. And you got to think that he needs to mix in the grappling to get the win here. I mean, that's not going to be the easiest thing to do against Joanderson Brito because of the physicality edge that I feel like Brito has. But I mean, it's not impossible. You know, he averages about 3.5 takedowns per fight. He has ran up takedowns against good grapplers before. He did struggle with Ricky Simone, but you know, he's at 145 now. He's 1-0 at the new weight. We've seen people be able to get Brito down before. Algio only shot 2 takedowns on him. He got both. He also got reversed on the ground at one point in that fight. Jonathan Pierce was able to reverse him on the ground. Had over 6 minutes of control in a fight that, you know, lasted less than 10 minutes. So I don't know, man. I don't see why Jack Shore couldn't get him down once or twice or get a reversal here or there. I mean, I do think that this is a pretty close fight. And I mean, like, since one guy's minus 170, I feel like it's a tad wide, to be completely honest. You know, I totally get Brito being favored. He's more dangerous. Yes, he's at home in Brazil. Yeah. I kind of have to lean to the dog in this fight. You know, I just don't think it should be quite this wide. I feel like Jack Shore is getting overlooked a little bit. I'm not interested in betting him because I just feel like the physicality, like, I mean, just looking at the two guys, if you just looked at them, you didn't know anything and said, like, who do you think would win in a fist fight? Obviously, it's Joanderson Brito. And, you know, for that reason, I'm not really interested in betting it. But, like, I could see Shore, like, getting some kind of a weird split in, like, a fight where both guys going to have momentum swings. You know, there's some kind of, like, reversals where Jack Shore is able to get some top time. So, I don't know, man. At this line, I'm going to slightly lean to the Jack Shore side, but I'm not backing that with any money.
Interesting. All right. 2 cents.
Yeah, give me Brito, but what Lucky just said is exactly why I don't want to bet it, because it is a really enticing line. It is just that fucking juicy little cheeseburger that I want to reach out and grab. But as much as I've been saying that, like, all these, like, Brazilian opponents are going to get fucked, it wouldn't shock me if there was one, like, Brazilian robbery too, where, like, a Brazilian fighter gets fucked, and it wouldn't stun me if it was this one either. I'm going to pick Brito. I don't know if he gets the knockout, but I think he will land the bigger shots. He's a way harder puncher, and yeah, I think Shore might have the edge in the grappling. I don't know, man. You look at Brito's record, man. He has some wins that have aged really nicely recently. Diego Lopez and fucking Chepe Mariscal to name two, but yeah, give me Brito, but tempting to parlay him because it's under minus 200 and there's a bunch of fucking chalky ass favorites, but yeah, it's just going to be a pick.
All right, fair enough. The only one really confident on Brito so far. Lou, what's your thoughts on this one?
I think Lucky makes a good point about, like, he's talking about how Algio was just easily able to wrestle Brito, and I respect that. The flip side is I can't unsee Ricky Simone just at will landing shots on Jack Shore. Like, boxing legend Ricky Simone just, like, having his way, like, which was crazy because I think, like, the whole world had the over on that fight. Like, nobody, like, it's going to be 15 minutes of grappling. And then Simone came out and just like, I'm putting a stamp on this. Brito's kind of like a meme, like, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't, like, is he good, or is he just like an explosive guy who has some superpowers? Like, I don't know that he's like a super well-rounded 15-minute fight guy. And I think he's going to have problems as his competition gets better. I don't know, man. Like, Shore, I think, has to fight a perfect fight here to win. Like, he can't get in any firefights, and he has to, like, actually control Brito for the majority of the fight. And that's where I worry for sure. I don't know that he can. I think he can have success with takedowns, like Lucky said.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, can he really, like, control him for a whole round? Like, that's where I'd worry. I just think Brito is, like, they have him on this fucking trajectory to just get, like, to get in the upper echelon of the division and, like, see if he can just, you know, meme KO people. So I'm going to pick Brito. I think he gets the finish. I don't even know how Brito would win a decision here. Like, I don't really see it. Like, if this thing goes distance, it should be Shore, and it should be Shore 30-27. So I'm just taking Brito by meme. I'm not super confident. Like, I'm not.
Right. I am.
And Shore did take enough time between, like, what was, like, I mean, he got Makwan, like Mr. Finland. Like that's just like he's basically a jobber at this point. I love Mr. Finland, man.
Yeah,
But that's a jobber fight at this
That's
point.
what I'm saying. It's like, what is he? We don't really know what he's going to look like at 45. Like extrapolated out from that.
Like for my wrestling fans, his Marwan's nickname should be "In the Ring to My Left." Like that should be his name when the fight starts. But so I don't know, man. I don't think Shore can really do it for 15 minutes, but I don't know. Like I would consider live, like adding on to Brito after 1 if he got control. I would consider it. The price was right. I doubt it will be. He'll probably be like -110, and I'll have no interest at that point.
If Brito gets tired, I could see Shore potentially choking him if he's the one getting takedowns and ending up on top. Like I could see it, but it's a greasy. This is kind of a greasy card, man.
Yeah, it really is. I've been going in it. I've been putting different 5 pieces together, trying to figure out a Zhongli I feel good enough to go with, and it's we'll figure it out by the end of the card. But -165 on Brito, +140 to Shore. I do like the Brito side, but definitely some legit arguments brought up here. As always, go ahead.
Can it Aaron, before we go on, since that was the last prelim,
yeah,
can I ask you, like, I'm just asking you and the panel this question. At this point in the card, how many confident bets do you even have? Do you have 1? Do you have more than 1? Because I feel like combined, we don't have like a confident parlay.
Dude, I have
like
2 bets. I have 2 bets, and one of them is a super chalky Brazilian 3-piece, and the other one like is a huge dog, and that's it. And they're both just kind of like, nah, we'll fucking see. I'm kind of just like looking ahead already.
Yeah,
currently Aaron likes Barbosa, and that's like the only confident play.
Yeah, I have Barbosa. I have Malarkey based on the number, and then I have Mountain Person in all of my bets that are.
Like, what about you, Lucky? Do you have like? I feel like you don't have a lot of confident plays, and that's not like a knock on anybody. Like, it's just that kind of hard. Like, it's hard to.
Yeah, I literally have 0 prelim bets. I didn't bet anything on the prelims.
Yeah. No, I have 2, maybe 3 right now, and I'll regret all of them. So
my confident bet's coming up on the main card.
But yeah, I mean, this main card, like I know we spent an hour plus on the prelims. This main card, there's only so much to say about these fights. I'll be honest with you, from my perspective. So I'll tee him up. I'm looking forward to it. But Paul Craig, Kyle Berhalo. I don't like Kyle Berhalo at all. I'm not a Kyle Berhalo believer. I don't get this push that they're putting him on. I will not bet Paul Craig by inside the distance. I will not bet him by KO. I will not do it. I won't. I always bet Paul Craig KO with my friend Jack Attack. Shout out to Jack Attack, the best third-party track to bet MMA tipper in the game. The only one who I'll say that about. But yeah, I mean, this, like, what are we doing here? I don't know what's gonna happen. Why is Berhalo almost -700? I guess someone tell me, because I don't really think it should be that wide, but I'm not betting any bit of this fight. I'm just going to leave it completely alone. Pass. 2 cents. Or Lou. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think
Lou, my bad.
I mean, I'm betting Paul Craig sub because why not? It's 8-1. Like, I don't know, man. Look, Baralho is going to win. Like, how do you beat Paul Craig? You refuse to engage in letting him just pull guard.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you beat Paul Craig. It's very simple. In all his UFC wins, I think he's won a combined 45 seconds. Like, I don't think he's ever won a minute of a fight, except like the Krylov fight.
Yeah.
He lost every second. He was getting 10-8'd, and he won because Krylov hit him so hard that he woke him up.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just like instinctively threw his legs around. Like, right, now you're choked out. This is where I always remind you that Paul Craig is 8-2 in fights he's lost. It's an incredible record in the UFC. I mean, if it's on the feet, it's not like Baralho is some like legendary, awesome technical striker. He's not horrible, but he doesn't really carry a threat of power.
No.
I don't think Craig is going to really worry about it. And on the ground, like, yeah, Baralho is going to probably backpack him and it's going to be boring as shit. But I mean, Paul Craig's cardio is really, really good. Like, it's historically really, really good. So Paul Craig's going to be live in all these grappling exchanges for all 3 rounds. To just hit a second of like a reversal or something. And in terms of like submission wrestling, I don't know, man. I don't know that Craig's. I don't know who's better, but I feel like Craig's more dangerous.
Yeah, sure.
So look, am I betting a lot of money on Paul Krieg? No. Am I betting it because I just like the guy? Probably. Is that professional? No, but I'm doing it. So
Right.
I'm going to pick Paul Craig by meme sub. If you parlay Baralio here, I mean, I get it. Like, I sort of get it. I'm saying, well, you know, I don't make those kind of bets.
Right.
But I think that Baralio probably covers this number more often than not by winning all 15 minutes of the fight. So I think Baralio decision is the most likely outcome, but I think you have to play the Craig sub for a shekel.
Yeah.
And 2 cents better be playing Paul Craig.
Yeah. I mean, how many people has Paul Craig beat that are better than Kyle Berhalo? Probably a significant amount, like a decent amount at least. Like,
I mean, I don't know that I don't know if Krylov is better. Because it's such a different like matchup. Jamal Hill's better, but again, that's a whole different.
Yeah,
style.
I guess it's just this is just so weird. I'm gonna be so bummed if I'll be excited if Paul Craig wins, but I'll be bummed that I didn't bet it here. So, yeah, no, Jimmy.
I mean, he beat Magomed, dude. Like, dude, he's beaten really good guys, man.
I mean, yeah. What would Magomed Ankalaev and Kyle Berhalo be lined at?
Well, I don't know. It would be lined at boring as shit. That would be the most boring fight the UFC could put on, man.
God, Magomed Ankalaev.
I would like, dude. If that was ever a fight, I'm not doing content that week. Aaron, I'm sorry. I got to do stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I got to cap the 2025 Derby.
Yeah. All right, Lucky. Bring us home on this opener of a weird ass main card.
Yeah, so the middleweight campaign continues for Paul Craig. And, you know, he's a fighter that I really like. I root for him. I think he's fun, but I think he's in tough here. You know, it's kind of the same story with Paul Craig, right? The striking is just not there. At 36, it's probably never going to be there. So you kind of just got to live with that and try to get it to the ground. And, like, he is excellent on the ground. He really is. Fought twice in the last 9 months. He made his middleweight debut against, you know, another very dangerous grappler in Andre Muniz, and kind of kicked his ass in round 2, honestly. Got on top and finished him with elbows. That was a nice win. A lot of people were counting him out there, as people often do. He proved the doubters wrong as a sizable underdog there. And, you know, next fight against Brendan Allen, like, that was always going to be a tough one, right? Ends up getting subbed in the 3rd round. Didn't have the striking for it. And also, he just doesn't really have the wrestling, right? Like, the jiu-jitsu is great. The wrestling needs a lot of work. He doesn't mind getting taken down because he can't really get other people down. He really struggles to get those takedowns. And, you know, Brendan Allen had the grappling ability to stay safe down there and then some to get the submission. And I think that Bahayo has the stuff to stay safe as well. He's 15-1, 5-0 in the UFC. And, you know, he's a guy that the UFC, they like him and they want to push him. But, like, the problem is he just goes to decision, like, way too much. Like, he does not have a good highlight reel. He doesn't have the finishing pedigree for them to really say, okay, like, let's lock in. We'll strap a rocket to your back and let's go. And I think that this is kind of the opportunity to do that. You know, I don't think he's a great striker. I think he's a better striker than Paul Craig. I think he's the better wrestler. I think Paul Craig is the better pure submission grappler, but I think it's competitive enough to where Bahayo can avoid getting into, you know, not necessarily a dangerous position, but, you know, fight-ending trouble on the ground. So, yeah, man, like, I think Bahayo wins. I think he's live to get a knockout, either standing or, you know, potentially on the ground. I'm not going to lay him on a 700 to find out. Right. But, yeah, I mean, like, I think he wins. It's not like it's a hot take. So,
yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, Berhalo by decision plus 175. Craig by KO plus 1,800. So, you know, maybe parlay that up with Barboza KO, Craig KO, Barboza KO, you know, for $1, maybe $2. But yeah, either way, yeah, not really some hot takes here. And I'd love to see Craig win, but no action at all on this for me. But the plus 1,800, I've bet it a couple times with Craig. It's fun. All right, next fight definitely could end up being that guaranteed unders fight that goes to a horrible decision, and everybody is just saying, how is this fight boring? It could never be boring. This is going to be a great fight. Michel Pereira should destroy your Peteria. Like, just destroy him. It should not be close. I would hope it gets over within the first round as well. For me, Pereira is the better MMA fighter by a significant amount, better striker as well as grappler, and just Eor's being brought in here to be slaughtered in Brazil. So obviously the line's out of control, but Pereira should win this fight. But do I trust him, especially at this price? Absolutely not. There's very few fighters I do, but Pereira's not one of them. But he does seem to have it kind of figured out at this point, and Eor is probably getting knocked out brutally. So that would be my expectation for this one, Lou. Or Lucky
so
Lots.
we were.
Or
So I
who
don't know if I'm just going at this point.
Okay.
You said
That's-
my name. I'm going. So So first of all, I'm capping this because Bogdan won last week, and I feel like that's important since we basically got like Ukrainian Bogdan. We got like the next wave of this guy. I had a bet on Ihor against Brychek last fight that brought Brychek in. I think it was like a favor to Joanna.
Mhm.
And he was like crushing him in the first 3.5 minutes. And then Peteria kind of, it's such a weird thing to say about him, but he like vet lessened him.
Mm-hmm.
He just made it weird and ugly. And I think everybody in the world had the under. So everybody was like really pissed off. And I don't blame them. I don't know how Ihor does any of that here. I think Pereira at 185. It's weird because I feel like people still cap Pereira based on shit he did like 7 years ago. Like the antics, like him doing a fucking moonsault and like all this weird shit that he does. Dude, he's taking his career a lot more seriously now. Like he definitely, his fitness is better. His steroids allegedly are better. He's not like rushing to make mistakes in fights. He's balancing his cardio well. But like he still knows when to explode in short bursts in these fights. And like, dude, Peteria is just there to get hit. Like, and I wouldn't be surprised. Much like last fight, I am surprised that the Pereira sub is so wide. Because I don't know why he can't get another like standing choke. Like hurt Peteria and choke him out. Get his back standing up, get him down on the ground and negate anything. I mean, Peteria's grappling he's not like completely lost, but he's not, like his sub is plus 325. I don't hate it for something I think is super viable, but yeah, Pereira 1-2 is like minus 186 on my book. And that's my favorite bet of the card. I just think he's going to run through him, man. It's hard to see Peteria. I will say if Peteria wins and he dances, the odds of him getting out of Brazil alive are like 0. Like if he wins, they got to put a camera on Peteria leaving the country.
Yes.
And I would watch a live stream of like just that. I'd stop watching the pay-per-view just to watch the live stream of Peteria trying to escape Brazil.
That's
like black bagged and sent to like fucking warehouse somewhere.
Right. And I think he's officially Russian now. I don't believe Peteria is Ukrainian at all anymore. I think he said, but I'm not positive on that. Locks.
Yeah, Pereira comes in here on a 7-fight win streak. He's 2-0 since moving up to middleweight. I've made my opinion pretty clear at middleweight a lot of times. I think it's pretty shallow. I feel like the best base for doing well at middleweight is not being an actual middleweight and coming from either below or above. Seems like a lot of the good fighters of this division do that. And like I like middleweight, man. My favorite fighter right now is Dricus du Plessis. So there's middleweights that I like. I just think it's a shallow division. I mean, 2 round 1 finishes over Petroski and Oleszejczuk. I think Petroski sucks. Oleszejczuk is, he's a decent striker. I don't think he's anything that good. He was supposed to have Makhmud Muradov here. And you know what, guys? I think that would have been kind of a tough test. Like plus 185 on Muradov caught my interest just when I saw that line. I know people are really low on him right now, but I felt like that was wide. But anyway, back to this fight. He's got Ihor Peteria in front of him, guys. I mean, like, what do you want me to say? You could describe Peteria in a lot of ways. One of them is not good. He's 2-3 in the UFC. He got 2 wins. I don't think anybody really knows how that happened. I mean, finished in all 3 losses. He beat a retiring Shogun Rua, and basically what that was they were like, who's like the absolute worst guy that we could give to Shogun Rua right now? It didn't work, unfortunately, but like that's when they need somebody to lose, it's like like get Ihor on the phone. They wanted him to get knocked out by Shara Bullet in Saudi Arabia, but there obviously were issues with that. So they said change of plans, go get knocked out in Brazil by Michel Pereira. He gets hit way too cleanly, way too often. I think he gets KO'd. And I'm not that high on Pereira. I'm not like a huge believer in him, but I mean, like, it's Ihor Pereira. Like, I think he's getting knocked out cold.
2 cents. I cannot imagine who you could possibly be on in this fight and to respond to not being a big Pereira fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret, dude. I'm a huge fucking Pereira donk. I'm a big Michel stan. So he is in my super duper fucking chalky 3-piece all Brazilian, but Mr. Reverse CLV King did miss the line. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I mean, pretty much what Lucky said. It's Murdoch would definitely have been a tougher fight, but like I think Michel at 185 is just a way better fighter. He's not really that old. He's got a bunch of experience. He's not doing these crazy weight cuts, and he is probably just sauced the fuck up. So like, yeah, I think he's on the good shit, and Ihor might be too. But yeah, he's a fucking punching bag. He's kind of a glass cannon. Like, he does hit hard, but Michel is just sharper to me, and has a good counter right hand. And I think he slumps Ihor. But yeah, club and sub wouldn't shock me either. Michel does like to club and sub, and he does go submission over position when he has his opponent hurt. So he'll just snatch a fucking choke even if he doesn't have like the proper, like, you know, in the exact right spot. So I can see that too.
Yep. Yeah, I think, you know, Pereira, probably one of my favorites on, even of the juice favorites. If I had to play one, he would be the one I'd play. But like Lou, that's not the bets I usually make. But yeah, minus 625 to Mr. Pereira right now, plus 455 on Eor. All right, next fight, third from the top, and we still are dealing with Anthony Smith fighting on the main card. He got brutally KO'd 4 months ago. We've all seen the meme. It was a scary type of KO. It's the type of KO that I was expecting to see his gloves in the middle of the ring after the fight. He's become a podcaster, a commentator, and a fighter, and in that order. And it's starting to really show in his fights more and more. The only fighter that I think he's beating is just like an Eor level fighter at this point. I don't think he's beating Vitor Petrino. And Vitor Petrino likes to wrestle way too much for my liking, for how good his striking is. But I think that in this fight, that doesn't really matter. I think Vitor is just going to have his way wherever this fight goes. And, for me, I think he puts him away. KOs Anthony Smith, because Anthony Smith, I don't think is fully recovered from the last KO he just had, which was like the 10th KO of his career or something. So guy's taking a lot of damage. He's, I think, got more than 1 foot out the door. And Vitor, they're looking to launch him. And I think that they're going to have a successful launch with a KO here. So yeah, KO for Vitor for me. Lucky.
Yeah, Smith is 2-3 in his last 5, and I hate to say this, but like he is on his last legs in the fighting game. I think he's on the back end of 35. This guy's got almost like 60 fights, man. Like in fighting years, this guy is old and weathered. I say this with respect. I really respect Anthony Smith, but like that's just how I feel. I mean, his last 2 wins were both Ryan Spann. And I feel like the UFC were just like, yeah, like who did Anthony Smith, like who could we possibly bring? Oh yeah, Ryan Spann, like snatched defeat from the jaws of victory against him. Like, let's get him back in and see if we can like get Anthony Smith like some sort of a good looking performance in any way, shape, or form. So nothing really to write home about. And those ones, he got finished by Roundtree brutally in his last fight. and now he's fighting a juiced up Vitor Petrino coming into his prime here. I mean, Petrino is 4-0 in the UFC. He's 11-0 overall. Looks like a good prospect. It's the last one with Tyson Pedro. And, the last time I was on the show, I was telling you why I was picking and betting Tyson Pedro against Chikali. And what I said was Pedro beats guys who he can physically impose himself on, and he loses to the guys that can bully him back. And a guy that's built like Vitor Petrino can bully him back. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do here. I do not think Anthony Smith has enough left in the tank to beat this guy. I think Petrino can get him down and win with ground and pound. I think he can deliver power shots on the feet and chin him there. I think Smith's durability is waning. I think his athleticism is waning. Father Time is undefeated, and I think Petrino gets a KO finish here.
Well said. 2 cents. Hot take. Anthony Smith lover, standing of stands.
I will not. I will not fucking tolerate that slander whatsoever. I am like one of the biggest Anthony Smith detractors fucking breathing, dude. I really don't like Anthony Smith. And I don't fucking have any what's probably going to happen is what y'all said. Vitor is probably going to fucking, like you said, Launchpad is going to be fucking Launchpad McQuack. He's going to fucking detonate him into the stratosphere. That's probably what's going to happen. But is it going to happen that many fucking times that the line suggests? I mean, Pedro is kind of a fraud, and he fucking didn't get him out of there. I do not think he looked good in that Pedro fight. And I really don't think he was looking that good in the Modestas Bukauskas fight until he just fucking one-punched him. Now, yeah, of course he could do that to Smith. He didn't get the pleasure man out of there. So it's really, I'm taking a stab on Smith, really just kind of I don't know if Vitor is this fucking next dude. And I don't really know if knocking out Anthony Smith shows that. If you y'all said, he's on this last leg, yeah, he got chinned 5-6 months ago. So I get it. And I'm not
4 months ago.
How long?
4 months.
Well, almost 5. It's almost May. It's May pretty much now.
So he started training last week. He got cleared to train.
Wasn't it November last year? Anyways.
No, it's 4 months ago. It was beginning of the year.
So yeah, he probably gets knocked out, but I mean, Petrino to me is not, I'm not quite as high on him as everybody else is. I do think he gets fraud checked sooner rather than later. Probably won't be Smith, but dude, I'm telling you, if he gets tired, which he doesn't just fucking slump everybody instantly. If he gets tired against Smith and Smith gets a takedown, you are not going to be want to be holding a fucking Vitor Petrino ticket. So yeah, give me Smith at plus 390, but yeah, he probably gets destroyed. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I do not have many Petrino tickets. I agree. Lou?
The Smith decision at 11-1 is kind of interesting. I will say that. I don't know, man. Petrino's everything 2 cents. Lucky and 2 cents covered it perfectly both sides. I think Petrino's overrated. I think he looks like he hits harder than he really does. He struggled against Prachniow with the striking. He's just lucky that Prachniow got taken down and couldn't do shit. And I could see a lot of that here. I don't think Anthony Smith, I think at least on the feet, is going to throw stuff back to Petrino. Pedro threw, we had the over on the Pedro Petrino fight. And it was just glorious that nobody did a fucking thing the first round. It was oh, it's the easiest bet you'll ever make. I don't think Anthony Smith's going to throw nothing. You almost look at the Johnny Walker fight for Anthony Smith in terms of a style where he's got to mind his P's and Q's and and he just doesn't care. He has no regard for his physical safety. I think he'll get in the pocket with Petrino and throw and actually pressure Petrino. And it's like I said, man, Prachniow was landing a lot of shots at Petrino. He just doesn't really have any power, and he made Petrino just have to go to grappling. I think that's a clear path here. Anthony Smith gets taken down anytime, you want to take Anthony Smith down. Who's to say Petrino is going to really go for takedowns here? You just don't know. Mm-hmm. He may want to put on a show. He wasn't doing shit against Pedro on the ground. He may just want to put on a show.
I hope he doesn't go to the ground. I'm sick of seeing him wrestle.
I would say this right now. If Petrino doesn't go for takedowns and makes it a 15-minute fight on the feet, he's making a huge mistake.
Pedro fought so scary in that fight. He just didn't fucking press the issue. He just fucking stood there and stared at him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just not. And then the whole fight against the pleasure man. I mean, everybody else that's fought Turkali just crushes him. And Petrino, the optics look good. It looked like he was just absolutely wailing on Turkalj, and Turkalj looked like the toughest guy in the world. Maybe Petrino just doesn't hit as hard as we think. Like,
Modestas is just fucking chinny too. Like, there's no two ways about it. Bukowskis can't take a big punch, and maybe Smith can't either. But like,
zero back, he throws nothing. He offers nothing back in terms of like a KO threat. So I'm gonna let's balance the panel out. Me and 2 Cents are gonna ride together here on the Smith side.
Unbelievable. All right. Nice take there.
But is Smith like, I mean, everything Lucky said, I'm not trying to discredit anything Lucky said. Like, is Smith done? Probably. But
yeah. No,
one
but
last ride, man.
Yeah, it's minus 575 plus 425.
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do on these fights, man.
Yeah, I get it. And I'm going to just pass on this all day. So moving on to the co-main event, return of Jose Aldo from his boxing tour, where he lost a decision to Jeremy Stevens in a organization run by Jorge Masvidal. So that's going well. And now they threw all of the money at him. They said, take all this money, come back, save this Brazil card, because we can't sell a pay-per-view where it's Pantoja versus Erceg. We have to at least be able to say the GOAT at featherweight, which at this point I'm thinking that's kind of debatable, but this is also at bantamweight, this fight. There's also, shockingly, this is the first time I've mentioned this today, or maybe one of the first times, maybe I mentioned it a couple times. No USADA. And if there's somebody not using USADA on this card, it is Jose Aldo. So he will come in with all of the EPO. He will make weight no problem, and it will look better than he's looked in the last 5+ years. Jonathan Martinez, he looked really mean at the face-off today. Like, you're really getting in his face, pushing him back. Like, but besides those leg kick finishes, Jonathan Martinez is not finishing much. And I don't know, like, Jonathan Martinez, he's fine. This is a pretty large step up for me, but I don't really know where Jose Aldo's at this point. And Martinez, obviously, the Saeed Nurmagomedov win is really encouraging to me, more than the Yanez win. Frankly, I'm not a big Yanez guy, but the love on Martinez seems too damn high. And I'm going to take a shot on Mr. Jose Aldo. I think that he's going to show up with all of his vitamins. And while I do think that he's coming back because UFC probably threw a bunch of money at him so that they could have a way to sell this pay-per-view, I also do think he looks ready to go. He looks like he's in good shape. He looks really fast as well with the hands. And I just can't take a guy who's lost to Andre Ewell over Jose Aldo. So layman's terms for it. 2 Cents. What's your thoughts on this one? I like Jose Aldo. I think it goes to a decision either way, though. I don't see a finish in this one.
It's really hard to not want to back the fucking King of Rio. And I know he's going to be a really popular underdog this week. And you can make a pretty strong case, even without just like being a fucking Aldo, like, lover. Like, he's got the better hands. Like, I would, overall, like, I mean, Martinez might be is he better kicker? Like, who's the better leg kicker? Probably Aldo. Martinez, I don't fucking know. Like, it's kind of close. Like, honestly, on the feet, and man, the experience and dude, it's hard not to want to take Aldo. But I'm also terrible at picking Martinez with wins and losses. He's another dude that I just can't fucking get right. I think he probably wins, but I get it, man. Jose Aldo knockout would not shock me in the slightest, so I get it. Martinez, fucking, I don't know. Martinez, he might knock Aldo out, honestly, man. Like, Aldo, everybody loves Aldo, but, like, dude, he's, like, doesn't take the fucking best punch either. Like, and Martinez is a dude that, like, he's a guy that I've always been like, nah, he can't hit for shit, but, like, he does have a little bit more pop than it might seem like. So, especially with his kicks, like, he might head kick Aldo, but yeah, give me Martinez, but I can see Aldo chinning him potentially.
Fair enough. Lou Betya.
Did you know that Martinez throws a lot of leg kicks? Because that's all anybody ever talks about with him. Do you know who's really good at checking leg kicks? Like legendarily so? Jose Aldo. Has Martinez ever faced anybody who like actually actively checks kicks?
No.
Like Yanez doesn't check. I don't think he's ever checked a kick.
No.
So what happens here when Aldo checks a couple of kicks in the first round? Does Martinez have a plan B? I don't know. Also, do you trust Martinez's chin? Like, I don't know. It really hasn't been tested these last few fights. But anytime he gets hit, I mean, was it Vince Morales I took, like the KO prop at plus 900? I'd still make that bet today, and Morales stinks. Because what's his win condition? Hit him once or get chewed up. He ended up deciding I'm going to get my legs chewed up for 15 minutes. Fair enough. I don't know, man. I think the line's probably all right. The steam maybe a little too much, but like, what if Aldo was like 5 years younger? Is he minus 500 here? Like, I mean, it's weird. Like, I don't know. And then I see people like, oh, if Aldo looks good in the scale, I'll bet him. When has Aldo ever once looked good on the scale?
Never.
Tell me the last time he didn't look like shit on the scale, and then as soon as the fight starts, he looks like phenomenal. He always looks sucked down on the scale.
Even in WEC looked terrible. He's always looked terrible.
Every single fight. It's like this thing. He's like, nah, I want him. It's like sense of false security. I don't know. I'm picking Aldo. I don't know if I'm going to get to a bet. I'm kind of cool sitting it out and just rooting for Jose Aldo, who like is one of my all-time faves, like all-time favorites. I think him and Razor Rob McCullough might have been on a card together like forever ago, and I'm like, oh man, these two guys are really good. Well, one ended up being good, and one, just kind of all right in the WEC days. But I'm gonna pick Aldo. I shouldn't. I know there's a little bit of heart over head here, but I really think like if he checks a few leg kicks early, Martinez is. I don't know what he's gonna. What's his plan B? If there's any grappling here, it's Aldo fucking him up.
I agree.
So,
Lucky, you've teased that you had some thoughts on this fight. I've been looking forward to hearing them. Go ahead and
clear your schedules, guys. I got some stuff to say. So, Martinez has getting a huge opportunity here. This was supposed to be Dom Cruz, but he gets the co-main event in Brazil against one of the greatest and most beloved fighters ever, Jose Aldo. He's coming in on a 6-fight win streak. He just beat Adrian Yanez. Yanez is a bit of a hype job, okay? Miles Johns beat this guy in the regionals. Came to the UFC. He beat a pile of nobodies, to be quite honest. And he looked really good while doing it. It was fun to watch. I liked it. Got exposed by the first two legit guys he faced. Martinez beat Said Nurmagomedov. I got to give him credit. Good win. Some people didn't think he won, but he showed up and performed against a high-level opponent. I'm not going to take anything away from him there. He finished Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson was a month away from 39. I know Jose Aldo's a similar age. I'm going to touch on that. But, other than that, really not the strongest strength of schedule, man. I mean, I don't mean to nitpick. 6 straight wins in the UFC is no small feat. I mean, you can't do that without being extremely talented. But, like he's legit. I'm not trying to discredit him, but it's like really not the best wins that I've ever seen to the point where I'm going to say I want to lay minus 160 on him here. He's a vicious leg kicker. Yeah, he's 2 wins on leg kicks in his current run. He lands good volume. He, becomes more effective as the fight wears on because he beats up on the legs and compromises mobility. Jose Aldo can do that too. He's one of the best leg kick checkers that, he's got to be up there in terms of that skill. And Aldo, yeah, he's almost 38 coming into this fight. We saw what Martinez did to the last 38-year-old he fought. That 38-year-old is not this 38-year-old. You saw this guy. I think he's going to come in looking amazing, okay? Although it seemed, he retired after his last fight where he lost a decision to the number 1 contender in the division in a really boring clinch fest. I mean, prior to that, he beat Marlon Vera, Pedro Munoz, and Rob Font in succession. Like, that's a really good run. All those guys are still ranked. And, like, after he took this hiatus from MMA, he wasn't eating ice cream on the couch. He had 3 boxing matches. He won 2 of them. He had 3 fights last year. Like, he's been quite active, So the Font fight, obviously, he gets way outstruck on volume. Font can double it up on anybody on the right day. And Aldo still had 2 50-45s on the scorecards. Like, it's not easy to get hit with like around 200 total strikes and win 250-45s. Like the power that he has at bantamweight is serious. And he landed 96 strikes himself in that fight. Fight before that, he put up 114 significant strikes on Pedro Munoz. That was a 3-rounder. Like that's big volume. The durability of Martinez is a major concern for me. Like Aldo has pop in his shots. He can create those moments that swing around. I mean, Alejandro Perez dropped Martinez. Martinez was a big favorite against Davey Grant, got knocked out. Andre Sukumtat knocked this guy down twice. And Sukumtat was made to look a fool by all the higher level guys that he faced. I mean, Sumaderji's a flyweight now. He ran circles around him. Montel Jackson schooled him. O'Malley dominated him on the feet. I mean, like I say this to say in the past 10 years, like this is who Aldo lost to. Holloway, Volkanovski, Mirage, Jan, Marab. Like, are we really like gonna lay minus 160 on Jonathan Martinez against him in Brazil here? Like, for me, no. And like I get that age is a concern, but I feel like that's the only thing you can say. Like, I don't think like is he better at anything? Because if so, I'd love to hear what that is.
And I think but he's
Martinez,
not. And I'm switching my pick. Just go. Sorry, I'm not going to cut you off. Go ahead. But yeah,
you're good. And like I think that's really the only thing you can say. Like, oh, what if he's old? That's all you can say. You're not saying I think Jonathan Martinez is better. Like, what if Aldo shows up and looks pretty good? Like, I mean, I think Martinez is less durable. Like, oh, this guy's old. I think Martinez is less durable. Andre Sukumtat dropped this guy twice. Like, I got to go with Jose Aldo here. Like, I see it being a pretty good scrap, but I feel like all the big moments are going to be for Aldo. Like, I feel like he's got to be at least like minus 120. And maybe he does show up looking super old. But like you saw his gun, I just don't think that's going to happen. So I think he's going to show up and look good. So I bet him as the dog.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with it. Well said. And 2 cents, what did you have to say?
No, I'm just saying I switched my pick. Yeah, like he Lucky just sold me because I really, even when I was saying it, I was like, I don't know why I'm picking Martinez. Like I just am like, he's younger and Aldo older and he's died. That it's just there's no like logical reason other than him just being old. The experience, the boxing's better. Like the fucking. I don't know, man. It's like Martinez, I feel like he kind of fights scary against dudes that are super powerful like Aldo is. So yeah, I could see Aldo winning a decision. So yeah, I'm on the other side now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm on Aldo as well. I get the arguments from Jimmy. It's a lot, you know, the desperate for a familiar face, concerned because of boxing, but I gotta put those aside and take plus 125 on Aldo. Good enough for me. I'm taking the shot on him, and sorry he is making the Zhongli parlay, everybody. So
can I ask Lucky a question since we don't have him on often?
Sure.
Of
Lucky,
course.
how do you cap Aldo versus Tong Po from kickboxing? How do you cap that fight? Because Tong Po in the LFA was like really good before he went to Singapore.
Yeah, man. I mean, I liked him, but like we're talking MMA in kickboxing. You said.
I mean, let's say Aldo agrees not to grapple. Please don't
know, man.
make it your last show either.
Like, I mean, that's tough to say. I just feel like a lot of times when people are like fresh coming over from kickboxing, like it is a different game. Even if we say Aldo's not going to grapple, I just feel like it's a little bit of a different game. Like, I think I would line it closely. Like, I can't tell you right off the top of my head like an exact number, but like I would probably line it pretty close.
I'm betting Tong Po. He's a murderer.
Well,
he broke a dude's back, man. He broke a dude's back.
I can't fault you for that.
There was a right answer here, man.
Tong Po is a real kickboxer. Like you're not talking about the character from the.
I'm literally talking about the character.
Movie.
Yes. Is this your first show with me, 2 cents? I'm literally talking about the character. How does Aaron know exactly what I'm doing? Like you don't. Come on.
It's okay. 2 cents is big time. He's, you know.
He's big time now. He's like, I don't need your joke.
He's like, I don't need your frivolous. He's like, I keep it to the sport when I'm talking about this. I am a professional.
Because I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if there was an actual kickboxer named Tong Po. I was like, no, that's pretty familiar, dude. Like, that is definitely from a Jean-Claude Van Damme.
There is a real ping pong player named P. Pong, and I know because I drunkenly bet him because my sportsbook had starting soon. It was like 4:30 in the morning. My buddy and I are like, find a stream. And I'm like, there's no live streams of ping pong.
That's a shame. Change that.
But my general rule of betting is like if the guy's name is the sport you're betting, bet that guy.
Okay. That's good advice.
What has he been doing since birth? They've been preparing him for a career in ping pong. His name is fucking P Pong. Like, bet this guy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Sorry for derailing the show. We can.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We're only going on 2 hours on this pay-per-view somehow. Main event time, Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. First off, I just want to mention this. Steve Erceg is the bigger fighter. So I don't know if that's been mentioned yet, but there you go. And Alex Perez was bigger than Alexandre Pantoja as well, and Pantoja really had a hard time with that. Anyways, this is a weird fight. I said it off the bat up top. Obviously, knocking out Matt Schnell should always earn you a title shot. So we have like 6 or 7 guys who are waiting for title shots now. Someone had to take the shot here, and it's going to be Steve. Yes, there's a. I mean, you can take any guy 1 through 15 and put him in the title fight, and most likely he could make it a decent fight. So saying this fight is going to be closer, there's a realm where Steve Erceg can make this fight close. Sure, I acknowledge that 100%. Steve Erceg has good striking. There's some arguments that Pantoja's defense isn't the best at times. He also kind of gets tired as fights go, I've heard, but I haven't really noticed that over his last few fights being much of an issue. And with Erceg, again, it's another Brazilian who has a significant grappling advantage over his opponent. Erceg got taken down by Costa in their fight. Also, I think Pantoja will be able to get Erceg down. And I think when he gets him down, he's not just going to settle for position. I think he does get the backpack him and choke him out somewhere in this fight. So I just think it's a levels fight, and Pantoja is a significant level higher than Erceg. So not a hot take, really. I've been surprised at the Erceg love here, and minus 190, I'm starting to think about with Pantoja, but I'm not there yet. Let's go with 2 cents to start us out on the main event here.
Well, again, kind of like Pereira, I'm a huge Pantoja standboy. He is my favorite flyweight, but it's for a reason. He's the best in the division. Obviously, he's the champion. And, dude, I don't think Erceg is a bad fighter at all. He's a guy that is way better than I thought he was coming into the UFC. And he's looked pretty good in his wins. But it's just like Dvorak or Dojak, whatever, kind of been proven to be a little bit overrated. Costa's not a bad win, but like decision against Costa, and then he chinned Schnell, that was his like 5th or 6th knockout loss. Pantoja did that himself. So Erceg's not a bad fighter. It's just I've seen some people talking about this fight and some of the like questions they have about Pantoja and like his chin or his defense, and whether that chin's going to go eventually at some point. Like, I'm not saying those points aren't valid, but like I have way more questions about Erceg. Like, who is the dude taking big punches from? Not anybody like Pantoja. And I do think it is a levels thing on the mat. I think Pantoja is a much better grappler. And if you do say Erceg is the better grappler, against fucking who?
Shannon Ramos. He's the only guy to submit Shannon.
I mean, like the people I think people are hoping and wishing and kind of reaching with Erceg. If I get proven wrong, I will eat my fucking crow like I do every time I'm wrong. But man, I think Pantoja just audits him. I think it's a levels thing here. And yeah, it's a bettable line. Like, it's under minus 200. Of course, my fucking dumbass parlayed him pre-flop when it was much more than that. So yeah. But yeah, he is my my anchor for my chalky Brazilian 3-legger. So it's Ishmael, Pereira, and Pantoja for plus 116. But yeah, yes. I mean, if Erceg gets it done, credit to him. But I think Pantoja shows you he's the champ for a reason. I don't think Erceg's the one.
Yeah, no, I can't. I don't disagree, and I will eat that crow with you on this one because I'm pretty high on Pantoja here. Lou.
Oh man, I mean, I like, this is the fight of the week where my gut is telling me don't bet this, but I feel like I've said that a lot this show for me. skill for skill, I don't know how you don't love Pantoja. I'm hoping Lucky likes Erceg just because I want to hear like a sound argument for the Erceg side.
Sure, I haven't heard it yet.
I think the problem I have with capping Erceg is he's shown no reason for me to think that he's not really good and that he's not really, really well-rounded. But he hasn't shown it to me against anybody who I can, like, this is such a leap that I don't know. Like, look, Erceg could go in there and match Pantoja on the ground, and it would be crazy, and it would be amazing. The thing is, it's never been proven that Erceg has a weakness that Pantoja can exploit. But, like, did people forget how good Pantoja has been over the years? Like, he's dangerous on the feet. He's lightning quick getting back takes standing, let alone, like, what he does on the ground. His cardio's been good. Like, Erceg's is a little untested. Like, Pantoja fought through being exhausted in a couple of those recent fights. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think Pantoja wins. But I've never seen, I don't have like a clear thing that Erceg can't defend himself on the ground or that he can't take shots on the feet. So I'm picking Pantoja. This is another one I'm probably just going to sit back and bet. I would favor the overs, if anything, here. I think Erceg's shown decent durability. I think Pantoja's pretty durable. I think if this fight gets to the third, fourth round, it probably becomes a lot of Pantoja gets a takedown, not really hunting for subs at that point, maybe just controlling rounds, conserving cardio. So I like the overs, but I'll pick Pantoja. I don't have the confidence that you guys have. Like, and I'm, look, man, I like Erceg. I hope he like performs really well and we see him again. Like, I hope he loses a close decision and, but yeah, I don't know how I don't go with the sitting champion who has proven how good he is against the best competition this division has to offer.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes it's just don't overthink the spot. And I think that's this right here. Lucky.
Yeah, I mean, Pantoja has had a really good career, man. He has really good wins. Moreno 2 times, 3 times, if you count the Ultimate Fighter. Brandon Royval beat him twice. Alex Perez, who we just saw get a big win in a ranked matchup. It was in the first round submission. Manel Kopp, he beat him. That's a guy that people are talking about right now. Pantoja already beat him. And his losses in the UFC are Askarov, Prime Figueiredo, and Dustin Ortiz 6 years ago. So we won 5 in a row. And like when I think about like what does a Pantoja win look like, it's when he can get it to the mat, right? Like that's when he wins. He got 2 50-45 scorecards against Royval in the last fight, and he was outstruck at distance every single round except the first round. And how did he do that? He had 8 takedowns and 16 minutes of control.
Yes,
right.
Sir.
Brandon Moreno in their most recent fight outstruck him at distance every single round. How did he win? He had 6 takedowns. Alex Perez only took 1. He subbed him in the first round. Royval, the first fight, he submitted him after 3. The Manel Kopp fight was a little bit of an outlier, and just to respect that Kopp was like the volume just wasn't there for him at all, really, in that fight. Kind of a weird fight, but in general, like I think it's fair to say that Pantoja kind of relies on that ability to mix it up on the feet. Like he's very game, he's tough, and he pushes through fatigue pretty well. He's not a bad striker, but kind of that ability to get it to the ground when things go south is really what gets him over the finish line. That's what gives him that championship pedigree. And when he loses, it's really when he can't do that. So like. Askarov, he couldn't get it going. Askarov shot 15 takedowns against him. The Figueiredo fight, I mean, Figueiredo was just a different animal at that time. One of my favorite fighters. He dropped him. He was able to get takedowns of his own, and he popped right back up whenever Pantoja got him down. And then if we look at that Ortiz fight a long time ago, Ortiz shot 12 takedowns in that fight and got 7. And, then I look at Steve Erceg, and he's, he looks very good. He's 3-0. He has 3 wins, 2 over ranked opponents. And, they're good wins. But, like, ordinarily, like, this guy would never get the title shot, right? Like, there's some extenuating circumstances here where, the number 1 contender, Pantoja, beat twice. The number 2, he beat 3 times. Number 3 is injured. Number 4, coming off 2 losses. Number 5 just fought, like, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. It really came down to just him or Makayev, who's at number 7. And Makayev had a boring snooze fest, and Erceg got a viral KO. So the UFC said, okay, well, when we play the preview for this pay-per-view, we want the one where Erceg KOs Matt Schnell. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of why this got booked. And like, I'm not upset about the booking. I'm a little bit surprised. Yeah. But when I think like, does Steve Erceg really have the style to beat Pantoja? Like, I don't know. I just don't really see it. Like, could he have some success on the feet? Sure. Like maybe is Pantoja getting older? Could he chin him? Like, maybe, but I don't really think you can bank on that. And I think the striking could be pretty close, but like Pantoja just hung in there with better. David Dvorak got Erceg down, Alessandro Costa got Erceg down, and I know for damn sure that Pantoja is a better grappler and wrestler than both of those guys. So I'm just not convinced that Erceg has the style to beat Pantoja. The line seems like it should be wider, and it's not. So it gives me a little bit of pause. I think Erceg can make it a fight, but if I'm just giving you like a prediction, who do I think is a better 50% chance to win? Like,
Yep.
I mean, I think it's got to be Pantoja. So
Yep.
I'm picking Pantoja to stack up another title defense here in Brazil.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking at a lot of Erceg tape, watched a lot of it before the UFC as well. He's definitely very good, and if he wins this, it wouldn't be the worst champion of the last few years, even like at all. Like, wouldn't surprise me, but it's a show me spot, and I'm gonna take Pantoja under -200.
I'm getting a lot of I got burned by trying to fade Pantoja, and I'm looking for my get back here from people that are on the Erceg side. I get that sense.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but either way, Erceg just kind of still the new toy. Hasn't been beat on this stage yet, so people kind of don't believe it till they see it.
If Pantoja beats him, does Erceg still have to fix his computer?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's a Best Buy employee, so yes.
I don't know if he had to. I don't know if he still had to like replace it. Give
He's
him
part
like
of the
memory
Geek
in his
Squad.
computer.
Yeah.
Well, we upgraded to 32-bit for you, dude.
Should be running real smooth now. Yeah, I'm gonna go over the Zhongli, then pass it around to the panel here, and we'll be out of here with just over a 2-hour show. They appreciate the chat here. Appreciate Brahma, Justin, as always, the unofficial other co-host who's always here. Noah, shout out to you all in the chat there. Alex, I know, is in there, and many others. So appreciate everybody. The Zhongli this week, I'm going to do something a little unprecedented. I am going to make it a 6-piece Zhongli for this week because it's already a hard enough card. So why not just make it 6-piece? Starting off, we're going to be skipping quite a few prelims. Costa was thought about being put on there. I'm going to leave him off. Barboza was thought about being put on there. I'm leaving her off. Starting with your car close to start out the Zhongli. Obviously, the Mountain Man, Maidabak, Orlabe. That's the only way I'm betting Orlabe this card, but though at his price. Then Joe Anderson, Brito. I am putting Pereira in there just as an extra because he's over -600. I'm not going to include him as part of the 5, so he is an extra 6th piece. Jose Aldo and Pantoja ended out, and gives you a plus 1250 parlay right now is the price on it. So, if you want to take a shot at it with me, throw 25 on it. If not, whatever, that's all good too. Yeah, definitely a really good, strong show. Always appreciate everybody. So, going to go around. We're going to start with the guest to end things off here. So, Lucky Locks, are you still out there, or what are you doing? Are you just living life? What's going on with you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not too active in the YouTube game anymore. Work gets in the way of watching a bunch of LFA tape.
Yeah, I get it.
Always
I'm not
for
making
sure.
LFA videos at this point either, so I get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can still find me on Twitter. The ad's right there. And yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. It's always fun to chop it up with you guys. So, yeah, it was a fun way to spend an evening, and looking forward to watching the fights on Saturday.
Yeah, man. Good stuff as always. And we'll definitely have you on again soon. Always appreciate you making the time, man. Lou, I know it's a busy weekend for you as always. What's coming up in all things Lou Betya?
So I'm not doing a separate prop show this week because I don't think the people deserve it. I'm just going to do my prop show. I'll just combine it with the happy hour tomorrow at midnight. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to do the Kentucky Derby, Lou Spectacular. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, the pick is Fierceness. I'll break down why tomorrow. And then I'm going to have a bunch of horses underneath to come in 2nd through 4th for the trifecta and the superfecta. And we will see if I can hit an incredible, improbable 4th Triple Crown race in a row.
Oh, yeah. Well,
after hitting 2 the previous 15 years, I could hit 4 in a row now.
Yep, he was due. Appreciate it, Lou. Learned a ton from that. So looking forward to that tomorrow. 2 cents. What you got the rest of the week?
So first and foremost, thank you for having me as always, and shout out to y'all. Lucky dude, always good to be on panel with you. Long time no see, but hope it's sooner next time. Lou, best of luck to you and everyone else as always. Yeah, good shit, man. Thank y'all. Y'all smash the like button for Aaron in the chat. And yeah, subscribe to his channel if you haven't. And I will be making my debut on Pub Sports Radio on the live betting stream on Saturday. So that's the biggest thing I got going on. I'm going to do the podcast with them tomorrow, and I will be doing my pregame before the fights start on my channel. So that is the rest of my week. But yeah, best of luck, boys. Thanks again, Aaron, and yeah, good shit.
Yep, appreciate the panel here. Appreciate everybody who came by. And yeah, we'll be back next week with whatever the card is. I'm afraid to even look at it, so I don't feel like getting depressed tonight. So I'll look at it tomorrow. All right. Peace out, everybody. Appreciate it.